Hey everyone, so in today's video I am super excited because we are talking about a bunch of my absolute favorite, more luxurious makeup items. What is really important on my channel is, despite whatever the price point is I really need an incredible, dependable formula. I think you can get that at an affordable price, but I also think that there are some more luxurious products that are absolutely worth the splurge. And not gonna lie, there are a lot of like holy grail items for me in today's video. So I'm bringing you guys fresh, new, natural light demos of every single item, in-depth reviews of why these really work and what kind of sets them apart from the run-of-the-mill makeup item. And as a whole, I just hope it is so helpful to you all. First off, I want to start off with a base duo that is so incredible. And you can get both of these items that I'm going to talk about at Kohl's, who is the sponsor of today's video. Kohl's has got some really incredible makeup. The specific beauty duo that I've been using to get really like my perfect base is the Ilia The Base Face Milk as a prep item, and then I've been using the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow. So these two products combined give me a long wearing look. It's glowy, but it's not overly creamy or transfery. It's fresh but durable makeup, which at the end of the day, what else could you ask for? I mean, for me personally. So let's first talk about the base face milk from Ilia. So it retails for $58, which again is a little bit more pricey. However, I do have a little hack for you. At Kohl's, you guys can get like the 1 ounce, which is more affordable if you just wanted to be able to try the product. Either way, I know I'm going to be repurchasing this. Essentially, this is a face essence. I use this in 2 different ways. One, I will use this within my skincare routine because here's the thing, guys, the ingredients in here don't mess around. They are absolutely good enough to actually use in your skincare routine. There's propanediol, squalane, glycerin, glycerides. This is just, for me, essentially an incredibly bouncy, hydrating essence that leaves behind a really plumped up effect to the skin. So I will use this within my skincare routine. It leaves my skin barrier feeling really resilient. My skin feels bouncy, but it's also not overly sticky. It's not greasy, kind of making it like the perfect base product to go under makeup. So I'll use it within my skincare routine. The effects of this don't change when I'm using my sunscreen, but that will depend on what sunscreen you're using. Like if you are using a mattifying sunscreen, it's gonna change the finish of this. But I will typically use this within my skincare routine, apply sunscreen. I always let my sunscreen sit for about 15 minutes. And sometimes right before I do my makeup, I will just apply another layer of this right on top. But you could also use it within your skincare routine if you're more comfortable with that. Either way, I have noticed an absolutely incredible difference in my makeup when I'm using this. My skin feels hydrated all day and it looks hydrated and balanced and less red and irritated. It's beautiful. On top of that, the new HD Skin Hydra Glow Foundation from Makeup Forever. I didn't know what to expect from this, but I don't think I expected a product this beautiful. It retails for $47. I have the shade 1N00. The shade is too light for me, but I make it work because the formula of this product, you guys, Makeup Forever really got it right with this one. Essentially, this combines the feel of a really lightweight foundation with the finish of a more glowy, creamy foundation. They've managed to combine the two to make just a more long-lasting, durable foundation. The coverage is about light to medium. You can absolutely build it up. It applies effortlessly. There's a really soft blur, but it's not an overwhelming silicone heavy look on the skin either. I love the glow, again, because it's glowy, but it's a secure glow, which for me, I think if you especially are someone that's like, Amanda, I really, really love glowy makeup, but my skin gets oily throughout the day, I would lead you towards a product like this. I'm not saying you might not have to powder at the end of the day, but this isn't going to really readily break up on the skin. It sits so closely on the skin, and it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a lot of makeup when I also have it on, which is just a really nice feeling. So often brands say, this foundation is gonna work for so many different skin types. I actually see this as being a glowy product that would. An absolutely epic combo that I've been really, really loving. And by the way, Kohl's has a bunch of promotions going on like all March long, so I'll leave some details down below if you guys want to check out some of the promotions going on. Let's talk about a newer favorite as well. Listen, 25 bucks for an eyebrow gel. It's not cheap. But this one from Make Beauty, since I tried it, has been blowing my mind. The wand actually has an option for you to use the longer bristles on one side, or you can use like the more classic spiralized wand on the other. This is an incredibly intense gel, and when I say intense, I don't mean it in a bad way. I personally find that my eyebrows are coarser. I do tend to drop throughout the day. I have a lot of hairs, and in general, I just have larger eyebrows. So I want there to be this kind of youthful fluffiness, and Make has been able to do that with this gel. They are so secure, they look fluffed up, but they don't look waxy, they don't look stuck to the skin. All the while, this holds, like it holds. I have found myself like throughout the day wearing it, and then at the end of the night, the rest of my makeup, a little mascara here, a lot of the blush might be off. The brows, they are up. They are still looking really good. So this ends up being a really beautiful long wear product that holds beautifully. And also, I find that the gel is really easy to work with. I don't find myself over applying it, which is sometimes an issue with some gels. If you have unruly brows, I think that it is worth the splurge, in my opinion. Shall we talk about a one and done eyeshadow that I hadn't used in a while? I really fell in love with it last spring, so about a year ago. Spring going into summer. It is Victoria Beckham Lid Luster in Mink. It's what is on my eyes today. By the way, I'm wearing all of the products that I'm talking about today on my face. This is pretty much my perfect wet, glossy, smoky eye, all wrapped up into one incredible eyeshadow. The pigmentation, the base pigment of this is more intense than something like the Hourglass Scattered Lights. It's a little bit more cool toned. But what is so beautiful about the formula is that the sparkles truly reflect in this beautiful wet way. This doesn't read as straight metallic. The glitters scattered throughout are fine enough that they twinkle in that wet reflection way that you guys probably know I really enjoy. And the formula is just really easy to work with. Really great pigmentation. Usually I just take my finger, swipe it on the lids, and then use a brush to blend it out. I have a feeling that a lot of you would be a huge fan of it if you are into these more wet, glossy, smoky eyes. It's kind of like the perfect grungy smoky eye in one shadow, but it definitely looks expensive on the eyes when it goes on. I will say though that this one isn't crease resistant, so if you want it to last, I would recommend going in with like a matte shadow into the crease. Like this isn't the most long wearing item in the entire world, But I gotta be honest, like, especially with a shade like this, it kind of adds to the effect, like that kind of undone smoky effect. I really don't mind it, but I thought it would be worth noting. Blush. You guys, blush, blush, blush. I am such a cream product woman through and through, but here's the thing. These blushes from Dior are so incredible, and I know it can be kind of difficult, especially when a product is so hyped up, to be able to tell like if it's actually worth the money. I'm gonna tell you guys why I think the Backstage Rosy Glow blushes are, specifically these two shades. So the first shade that I got is the shade Coral. It looks like nothing in the pan. It definitely doesn't look like that, but it's essentially this really soft pink coral. And it's a little bit more on the light pigment side as well. But what happens when it goes onto the cheeks is it adds this touch of brightness. Almost think of this as a brightener for your blush. It's in just the right shade that if you have more of a warm skin tone, it immediately wakes up the complexion, and any kind of like dullness in your overall makeup look is like kind of immediately taken away. It's one of those really beautiful final touches to a makeup look, but I use these as like the focal point of a blush look all the time. Like I'm wearing both on my cheeks today, but they are just so incredible. The shade Coral, again, was the OG for me, and this is the one that I still reach for the most. However, the shade Cherry will do a very similar thing if you have more medium to deep skin tones, but again, it's like a warmer cherry shade, so it's going to add this beautiful kind of sun-touched, sun-kissed look. That's how I like to use it, like right on the tops of the cheekbones, like kind of between my eye and like this space of my cheekbones, like where I would typically actually sunburn. I apply it onto the bridge of the nose. It adds such a realistic blushed effect. I used it constantly in the summer. And again, it has a little bit more of this kind of translucent base that makes it so layerable. The formula in combination with the colors just make them really easy to work with and incorporate into a routine. I will say this one, the pan like popped out, which I could always just like super glue it back in and it'd be fine, but I think that's kind of annoying, like, you know, for a more expensive blush. These are $40. But if you told me tomorrow, Amanda, you can only use Dior Cherry, or Amanda, you can only use Coral from Dior for the rest of the year, honestly, I would be mad just because I love blush, but I really don't think my makeup would suffer because these are just so incredible. Now, we've been talking about more longwear makeup. I will say, everyone has their opinion on setting mists. The proof is in the pudding with this setting mist from Charlotte Tilbury. The Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, I will always go ahead and splurge on it because it locks the makeup in and it does not dry out my skin. It softly mattifies, but again, doesn't dry out the skin. Actually, for my friend's wedding, I realized that I had not brought my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush with me. I went out and I bought another one. It keeps the makeup on, and also I really enjoy it because I don't like to use a powder like all over the face every single time I do my makeup. And I find that this is such a beautiful product for quickly setting the face, mattifying a touch without feeling the need to use an entire powder step. I also put my sister onto this as well, and she's like, Amanda, I noticed a significant difference in the longevity of my makeup when I started incorporating it. It's just very good, so consistently helps the longevity of my makeup. That's why I always go back and repurchase it. It's 38 bucks. However, you can get the two smaller sizes for $32 as well. So I'll leave a link to both down below. That's initially what I had, like the two smaller sizes, and I went through both. So now I have two of the larger sizes in my collection. Next up, the Hourglass Volumizing Glossy Balms. They're just one of those products that I kind of wish I tried sooner, because I had heard a lot of people talking about how much they loved them. I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, they look pretty, but they are so good. I'm wearing the shade Haze on my lips today. It's like a pretty perfect everyday shade for me. What is so beautiful about them is the way they envelop the lips, the way they feel secure and add this beautiful glossy effect that truly makes the lips look bigger. Like they really do a good job of adding that voluminous effect. But the pigment and formula combined offers this really plush look on the lips that also has this kind of jelly effect. I think a lot of brands kind of come out with these more like voluminous, high shine pigment products, but sometimes the base pigment is too milky and it's not translucent enough to actually give you that really pretty jelly effect. And sometimes they're too slippy and unruly on the lips. These feel like a true gloss in a stick formula that offers enough pigment but not too much, enough glossiness but not enough to like get really gloopy and sticky between the lips. And finally, the shades. The shades are perfection. Really beautiful, well thought out shade range. But if someone's gonna ask me like my top 5 lip products, these are certainly in the top 5, if not closer to top 3. And finally, a product that will not be a surprise to a lot of you. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Bronzer. As far as products that I have talked about over and over and over and over on my channel, this is definitely one of them, but there is good reason for that. So often we deal with cream bronzers that are too sticky, they're too silicone heavy. So what ends up happening is they don't last throughout the day. Or if you have like hair on your face like I do, sometimes the silicones don't want to mix with that and it ends up looking really choppy. Charlotte Tilbury has created a cream bronzer one in the shade Fair that is a very light, slightly warmer tone shade that isn't too orange, which I feel like is half the battle these days. The formula is a beautiful, creamy but satin finish, so it's not like an overly glossy, dewy bronzer, which makes it incredibly versatile for like every makeup look. It kind of has this self-setting quality, and very blendable, lasts well on the face, and in general at $58, it's like not even a question. I mean, you can see how often I use it. The minute I run out of this, I am picking up another one. I think it's one of Charlotte Tilbury's best products that she's ever come out with. Those are a bunch of absolutely splurge-worthy makeup items that I wanted to share with you all today. Definitely make sure to head over to Kohl's to pick up a lot of these makeup items. I will leave links down below. Thank you again to Kohl's for sponsoring. Thank you to you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one.